Squarespace or WordPress? That is the never-ending question that I get year after year as people are thinking about switching platforms, thinking about finally getting a website up, whatever it is. This is the age-old question. So I want to talk about this today specifically from a blogging perspective. I have other videos that I've talked about these platforms from a general overview. You can check those out if you are looking for your website platform as a whole. But if you are really into blogging, you really want to start blogging for your business, I'm going to talk about these platforms and which one might be best from that perspective. If you're new here, my name is Jess, and this channel is all about helping you create a more smooth and profitable online business with the help of your website. And I can definitely say choosing the right platform from the start is definitely going to save you a lot of time, money, and headache. Not that you can't move platforms. I do it all the time for my clients, but I know that if you can choose the right platform from the start, it's always going to be better. So I've been in business for 10 years. I first started on a platform called Cargo Collective. It's like a platform site. I used that in college. Then after that, I believe I used WordPress.com for a very short time and realized that was not great. Then I switched to Squarespace. I used Squarespace for 4 or 5 years, I think, and loved it. And then I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, I switched over to WordPress.org, where I am now. I started blogging in 2014. That's when I was using Squarespace. And so I've blogged on both Squarespace and WordPress. I've had a podcast on both Squarespace and WordPress. I have a YouTube channel that's been a part of both Squarespace and WordPress. So I've pretty much done all the content creation I can on both platforms. And I can tell you, WordPress is probably the better option for most of you. And I'm going to explain why so you can figure out for yourself which one is better, because I typically try to avoid using absolutes. There are very few things that I say absolutely not or absolutely yes. I think a lot of it depends on you and your business and what you want your website to do. So let's dive in. So first I want to talk about Squarespace. Now, I don't want to scare you away from Squarespace if that's what you are currently using or were thinking about using, but you're like, everyone's talking about SEO and WordPress. The reason that people talk about WordPress being better for SEO so much is because of the plugins. You can optimize your post the same way on WordPress and Squarespace. If you know the basics of SEO and headlines, keywords, image optimization, image alt text, links, backlinks, blah, 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 all of that, you can optimize the same on both platforms. When I was actually using Squarespace several years ago, I was on the first page of Google. I did not pay for anything. I actually wasn't even trying to optimize my site that well. And I was kind of accidentally on the first page of Google for my keywords in my city, and I live in a very large area. So it's 100% possible to rank on Squarespace. So don't feel like you have to use WordPress for SEO. The pros of using WordPress, again, are the plugins, the SEO plugins. So you have the actual SEO plugins like Yoast or Rank Math, but then you also have those kind of extra plugins like table of contents plugins that are good for SEO, schema plugins, redirect plugins, like all this kind of stuff. So that's really what makes WordPress more beneficial. But if you are just going to use WordPress at a very basic level and you're not going to be using all these extra plugins outside of the SEO one, you're not any better off from an SEO perspective. For my food bloggers, nutritionists, dietitians that also want to use recipes on their blog and use that as kind of a traffic driver, you definitely want WordPress because you can't really optimize the recipes on Squarespace, like that printable recipe that has the instructions and the ingredients and stuff. Like having that on WordPress is beneficial. So if you're in the food space, you want to do recipes on your site, you are definitely going to want WordPress. What really matters when it comes to SEO is producing content, valuable educational content that your readers are going to love, but also Google is going to love, and building that authority around your niche and your topic. Do some platforms have more features or plugins or tools than others? Yes. But again, if you know the fundamentals of SEO and optimizing your content, that's really what matters. If you're not going to even leverage all these SEO tools in WordPress, there's no point in you being on WordPress. It's not like WordPress is on a pedestal and Google is like, everything WordPress gets to be shown in Google. So create the content that actually is going to show up in Google and use whatever platform is better for your skill set, for your other needs in terms of your website as a whole. I do have lots of other SEO videos on my channel. You can check them out below. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up and I will see y'all next time.